Resident Evil 4 wasn't just a great game, it was the game. One of the most revolutionary titles ever made that had this perfect mix of action, horror, and charm to it. So how do you remake such thing that fans already consider perfect and no need of a remake? Well, you turn up the horror, polish the gameplay, improve the story beats for a more compelling narrative, and there we f***ing go, you just made the best Resident Evil game again.
Resident Evil 4.
The first impression a game gives you is everything. It displays all the hard work that went into making it, and the remake nails it. The banter between Leon and the cops is still present, but this time they went with a darker, heavier tone. To me, this introduction screams Resident Evil to the utmost. It's full of darkness, quiet build-up, and eerie atmosphere. It's everything the franchise is known for, and it hits you right away. There is this big sense of mystery surrounding this walk through the forest, and the game throws you into encounters out of nowhere before they really turn up the volume. The village fight is one of the most, if not the most iconic moment of the game. While it is this huge action set piece, the remake puts an emphasis on horror much better than the original, and while it might not be the usual kind of horror you expect from Resident Evil, it actually turns out to be extremely effective. And that horror is horror by desperation. These hordes of enemies will swarm you constantly, leading you to make a lot of bad decisions simply because of the sheer anxiety these encounters provide. It might not seem like horror to you, but after all, what does horror even mean? A simple jump scare? Unusual sounds heard in the background? A scary chase? No. The definition of horror is an intense feeling of fear, shock, and disgust. And what is the definition of fear? An unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Oh, would you look at that? Resident Evil 4 Remake is as horror as it can f***ing get. And it's not just the combat, it's also the atmosphere that creates this sense of unease. Whoever designed these environments deserves a motherfucking raise. Okay, Capcom? It's so much darker now and it simply hits a different note. Now let's get into how the remake improves or fails to do so upon the original. The combat is way more fluid, no standing still when you're shooting. Parrying is introduced, making Leon's knife the most versatile weapon choice he can have. Resource management is definitely more scarce now, at least that's how I feel, I might be wrong. Enforcing that horror during combat, creating a fear of advancing forward when you're low on resources. But I will agree with the fact that the original has more personality. The OG had this goofiness simply unrivaled by the remake.
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
And while they did try to remake this game with the same goofy charm,
Then come, Sancho Panza. Let us rescue the Princess Dulcinea.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
that oomph is just not there. I don't think this is a fault on Capcom's side because, let's be honest, yeah, they were great at the time, but they would definitely be seen as way too offensive for some people now. It's the same for any piece of media actually. You can't make movies or games or whatever else in the same way you would have made them in the early to mid 2000s. Though I think it could have been possible to capture more of that magic in other senses. The sound design and music in that game was perfect. I mean, just listen to these differences.
What are you doing?
Me? Just hanging around.
Capcom took out aspects of the original which kinda makes it have less soul in some situations, but when they do come up with new stuff, they usually nail it. Yes, there is no Verdugo boss fight anymore, but considering how he moves in this section, there is no need for him to be a traditional boss fight. Also, am I the only one that thinks that the Verdugo looks a little bit like Darth Vader at the end of the Return of the Jedi? I just can't get this image out of my head now. It's stuck. Another thing that they added in the remake that wasn't present in the original was Luis's minecart section with Leon, which is just amazing. The bosses are redesigned beautifully, and I think they not only improve on most, but they straight up look me bad upon some older ones, like Salazar's, which I guess leads me into the next point, the story and its villains. I'm of the opinion that the Resident Evil games never really had good stories, and I don't think that's much of a hot take. Yes, great prototypes, or I guess blueprints, definitely, but the stories, no. There are some that I rather really enjoy, such as Resident Evil 2 or 7, but you'll never see the level of a Silent Hill 2 in here, which is completely fine. These franchises are amazing for various different reasons, but when I say that the Resident Evil 4 Remake story is the best, I mean that shit. Capcom decided to double down on the storytelling, fleshing out characters into more engaging ones with which you can actually empathize or simply despise even more. All of the villains have been given good treatment in this remake. More backstory, complex personalities, better motivations, but not this little brat. He's possibly the only character in the entire game, hell, in every remake there has been made, to become less complex and more evil. From his grotesque, half-wit design to his big mouth, which he never fucking shuts, by the way.
Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy.
To his backstory, they all make him like better. Sometimes a story simply needs a villain with no redeemable qualities to be more interesting, and Salazar is that kind of villain. But good god, his boss fight is one of the best I've ever witnessed in a Resident Evil game. His whole personality filled with hate and insecurity is masterfully displayed by this fight. If there is any moment where I have no doubt that the remake clearly is better than the original, it's this boss fight. It makes him stand out, because all of these other villains have so much depth to them. Krauser is Leon's former mentor and acts like a dark reflection to him. It's always more interesting when a villain has the same abilities as your protagonist and they also have a deeper connection. It makes everything more intimate and more personal in a way. His introduction is much more impactful in this remake. By killing off Luis, which is now one of the best characters in the whole franchise, we instinctively want to take him out. In the original, he kinda just shows up and he's like, "Remember me, Leon?" No man, I don't. I've never seen your white ass before. I don't care about you. And he's got the best boss fight in the game. Why, you might ask that? Because I like it the best. Sadler is your typical kingpin with this plan of taking over the world, world domination. It's actually a plan generations into the making. I'm talking like 500 years. And Blondie over here has the guts and audacity to stop it. Can you believe him? He has a great backstory, one which was a massive secret before. Mendes in the original is just a tyrant. Now he's simply a man with no choice because he's infected with the Plaga. So bye bye consciousness, I guess. The magic of this remake is that it doesn't put the original in a bad spotlight. It actually just shows you how you can enjoy both of them equally. Because you can. By taking the blueprint of the original Resident Evil 4 and expanding or reimagining the events or introducing all of these cool new features is why I think this is the best Resident Evil game again. Thank you for watching my video, I was sweet, and I'll see you next time.